this idea was first floated by Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, who obviously owns Twitter, now known as X. And in a conversation on that platform, it was kind of like he discussed the idea of this commission that would look to find efficiencies in the government to kind of go after the bureaucracy that sort of punctuated the Biden administration particularly. Republicans have really been railing against the Biden administration for all the rulemaking it's conducted. All these federal agencies are basically promulgating these rules and regulations.
Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle, and I'm joined today by economics reporter Zach Halaschak. Zach, former President Trump has an idea that he wants Elon Musk to spearhead. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so he actually proposed the idea of a government efficiency committee today during a rally or a speech to the Economic Club of New York. So basically this idea was first floated by Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla, who obviously owns Twitter, now known as X. And in a conversation on that platform, it was kind of like he discussed the idea of this commission that would look to find efficiencies in the government to kind of go after the bureaucracy that sort of punctuated the Biden administration particularly. Republicans have really been railing against the Biden administration for all the rulemaking it's conducted. All these federal agencies are basically promulgating these rules and regulations that Republicans say is kind of like a way to circumvent the legislative process and their authority to create laws and kind of a backdoor to enact some of the more liberal policies, particularly with environmental standards, that sort of thing, stuff that might not get passed in Congress. And so you're going to see a pretty big push if Republicans win to kind of gut the administrative state, go after rulemaking, and I think this is just one example of that. And Trump even said that he'd be fine with putting Elon Musk at the head of it. I think Musk said on Twitter afterward that he would do it without any pay or title. He just kind of wants to help out and kind of tear into the federal bureaucracy. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Obviously, we don't have the details and the exact parameters of what that would look like, but the concept is certainly there. And I think it's going to develop more over time as we see more and more what that Trump's thoughts are behind it.
Yeah, I mean, many years before you were born, Bill Clinton put Al Gore in charge of the Reinventing Government Task Force, and there was the Grace Commission under Ronald Reagan. But this isn't Trump's only idea, or at least his only proposal for sort of going after the rulemaking authority of the federal government. What has he pitched for regulations?
Yeah, so in 2016, he kind of ran on this idea of, one in, two out. So every new regulation you erase two from the Federal Register. So you got two, you put one in. And that was kind of designed to overall bring down the regulatory burden for the regulations more generally and reduce the size of the regulatory state. And actually it overperformed. So when he was president, more regulations were moved than even the two out, one in idea. So this time around at his same speech in New York City, he proposed 1 in, 10 out. So for every one regulation, delete 10 other regulations. And I think it's in response, again, to the raft of rulemaking under the Biden administration, the sort of explosion of the administrative state. And so his big goal, one of his big economic goals, is to try to pare that back should he win in November and get a second term. And Republicans on Capitol Hill largely support that and have actually made reforming the administrative state one of their biggest priorities going into 2025. Kat Cammack from Florida had a bill called the REINS Act that looked to go after rulemaking, and so did Tom Emmer, the Republican whip. I spoke with him about that earlier this year, some legislation he had. So not only is it going to be an effort from the executive, from the Oval Office, but you're also going to see kind of two-fangled effort, one and also from Congress, with lawmakers working to kind of overall reform the whole system of rulemaking and how the administrative state operates.
And a lot of Trump supporters credited deregulation for the health of the pre-COVID economy under Trump until the pandemic came in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Republicans said, we cut all these regulations and allowed private sector businesses to take off, to boom, jobs to be created, the economy to grow, or GDP to expand. And so they kind of credit that regulatory cutting through that regulation as being one of the big drivers of the economy. And they're hoping to see a return to that should Trump win the White House and Republicans win Congress.
What's the current state of new job openings?
So we got some bad news on that front. Job openings actually fell to their lowest level since January 2021. So that was the month that Biden was sworn into office. That basically just shows that the overall labor market is slowing. We saw at our last employment report, the unemployment rate ticked up to higher levels than most economists had expected, and that kind of set off alarm bells. And this latest report kind of did the same. It kind of re-emphasized the fact that the labor market is slowing. Now we're nowhere near like recession territory or anywhere what it was like during the Great Recession. Mm-hmm. But anytime you see unemployment ticking up more than expected and kind of continuing that trend of going up and job openings going down, it's never good news for the economy. And it kind of shows that the labor market is something we need to watch pretty closely as the Fed looks to start lowering interest rates, most likely at its next meeting in September.
Which is coming up, and as is the election. Thank you, Zach.
Yep.
You can read Zach and the rest of our policy team's coverage at washingtonexaminer.com.